There must be more money.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Niliana and today I will talk about the capitalism in the rocking horse winner from a Marxism perspective. This story is set in the 20th century, which is the era of modernity. So the era of modernity is characterized by a focus on 1. Industrialization and 2. Science. Industrialization and science promise progress and prosperity of the people. However, the capitalistic system that emerged from industrialization and science actually leads to 1. Materialism and 2. Greed in the society. Due to the materialistic desires and greed, the loss of religion and loss of family relationships are the consequences of industrialization and science. This presentation explores the capitalistic ideologies that exist in the rocking horse winner from Marxism perspective. This presentation argues that greed is rooted in capitalism and direct consequences of capitalism manifest in the collapse of religion and collapse of family relationships. Capitalism is a system where everything, when I say everything, I mean everything, can be defined in its worth in money. You see this? This is my Sprite bottle for when I'm stress eating. $2.80. Capitalism. So, what will you do? You will need that money, $2.80, to buy that Sprite bottle. When you need money to buy things, it will promote the virtue of making the most money. I want to make money, a lot of money, because I want to buy a lot of things. In the short story, it is a capitalistic society. So the family in the short story, who are Paul's and Hester's family, they can be classified as petit bourgeois. So what is petit bourgeois? Petit bourgeois is like middle class but lower. So we have the capitalists, the upper lower class. They are the one who have the means of production. They control the labor, but the petit bourgeois, they are not laborers. They may own small business. Maybe they are artisans, and they can employ other laborers.
Capitalism perpetuates the ideology that it is natural to want more money. This can be seen in Hester, who continuously wants more money.
But is this true? I want to ask you, do you think Paul, does he follow or contradicts this ideology? 1, 2, quick answer, quick answer, quick answer. 3, okay. The answer is no, he does not follow. How he does not follow? Yes, he wants the money, but he wants the money to give it to his mother. So he does not actually follow the human nature to want more money.
Paul just wants his mother's love using the money.
There must be more money. There must be more money. There must be more money. There must be more money. There must be more money. Greed. Do you want this money? Then you are greedy. You should be ashamed of yourself. Greed and capitalism are not a good combo. Capitalism is a greedy system that will never be satisfied. We can see this through Hester. In the beginning of the story, she actually has enough money to live comfortably, but she does not want this. She wants more, and this more includes servants. She also wants to buy expensive gifts for her children for Christmas. And we can see that her greed will never be satisfied, because when she receives money from Paul, like 1,000, she wants more. She wants all the 5,000s at the same time. What does she do with that money? She actually spend it to buy lavish things. She buys flowers during winters. She hired Latin and Greek tutor for Paul, and she also enrolled him to a prestigious Eton school. But all these three things, they actually have less status value. Like when you buy this, Latin and Greek, they are classical languages, so they are like have higher status, and Eton is a prestigious school, so they also gain status. And flowers during winters, I think that's just she just wants to show that she's wealthy. But the spending habits of hers to buy things that she does not really need cause her to want more money. She thinks it is natural to be greedy. We can see this from the text. The whisper was everywhere, and therefore no one spoke it. Just as no one ever says, "We are breathing," in spite of the fact that breath is coming and going all the time. The whisper that we need more money has become natural to her. It is just like breathing to her. So for her, it is just a natural thing, and she will never be satisfied. Greed can be expressed using these interconnected concepts, which are relative deprivation, meaning that the lack of resources to sustain the lifestyle that an individual is accustomed to or widely encouraged in the society they belong. They emphasize the individual experience of discontent when being deprived of something one's believed one's entitled. Another concept is affluenza, which is like psychological disease affecting wealthy people, causing psychological disorders, sense of alienation, and distress. Whereas social anxiety is the fear of being perceived as unsuccessful by society in materialistic terms, which will lead to social consumption, which is the acquisition of items that are associated with a position in social hierarchy. Greed is rooted in capitalism when one puts emphasis on money and materialism. Capitalism, which is due to industrialization and science, led to the collapse of religion because of their growing focus on materialism. Whereas religion as the opium of the masses by Karl Marx can also be interpreted as religion as an expression of distress. What this means is that it uses religion to express distress in the society. So Paul, he turns to religion to express his distress. He does not receive his mother's love, so he turns to religion. In the story, Paul symbolizes religion. Paul is portrayed as a prophet due to the text that he says, God told me he is certain, and his luck is his miracle. Whereas Bassett is a believer who connotes that Paul as someone who have divinity. As he has said in his text, it's as if he had it from heaven.
This story shows that humans' greed is pushing away religion and weakening their religious faith.
So even though the story has Bassett, who is a firm believer of Paul's divinity,
Hester's greed still overpowers Paul's divinity.
in this text where the whispering of the house is getting louder, Paul says that he cannot bear against it. In this text, in spite of his luck, Paul could not bear up against it.
This shows that humans' greed is so overwhelming that it is pushing away religion.
The collapse of religion also lead to the collapse of values like generosity, love, and honesty. These three values are like the most important values in religion. So and all these three values, they are like not present in Hester, who represents greed.
It can be argued that these three values are present in Paul, who represents religion.
Since Paul symbolizes religion, his death at the end of the story shows the collapse of religion in the 20th century because of the focus on materialism and greed. Furthermore, greed also leads to the collapse of family relationships. Industrialization and science, which led to materialism, caused a family member to be obsessed with money, that they do not care about their family members, the other family members. So in the story, Hester, she actually has love towards her husband when they got married, but that love turned to dust. And she starts loving money instead of her husband. So her love is replaced by money. Paul's loss of innocence also leads to the collapse of family relationship. Loss of innocence can be seen when children they become aware of their terrible condition and show their life difficulties. So Paul, he lost his innocence as early as when he asks Hester about money, and he becomes aware of her mother's desire towards money. So this reshapes his life view, where he only focuses on earning money instead of playing. He used to play with his rocking horse, but now he is using the rocking horse to make money. Paul is also involved in gambling, which is horse racing, which causes him to feel stress and anxiety, as he experienced at the end of the story. At the end of the story, however, we can tell that money cannot buy love, as seen that Hester still does not love Paul even when he is dying, as seen from this text. Paul said, I never told you, mother, that if I can ride my horse and get there, then I'm absolutely sure. Oh, absolutely. Mother, did I ever tell you I am lucky? So he says this during his deathbed because he wants to feel and receive her mother's love. But Hester only replies, no, you never did, said his mother. And then he died. So what happens is, even though Paul did everything he could and even died to give money to his mother, but his mother still could not love him. In the end, what does she love? She only loves the money, but not her children.
So we can say that greed and materialism leads to the collapse of family relationships.
In conclusion, the short story says that capitalism promotes greed, and the collapse of religion and the collapse of family relationships are the consequences of greed. So the consequences of materialism and greed are the loss of relationship and the loss of innocence, the loss of religion. The question that the story is trying to ask is it worth it to lose all these things, to lose all these values for money?